What's up, seahorses? It's time for our first power session. Today, our guest is a mom from one of our pre-K students, Miss Christina Chavez. She is here to talk to us about her experiences as being an archaeologist.
An archaeologist is someone who studies past human activity by excavating, which means digging.
They also date and interpret objects and sites of historical interest.
Archaeologists collect data and preserve their findings to help everyone understand what happened in our past. Christina Chavez has worked on excavations all over the world, but she has even worked on one right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right off of 98th Street and Dennis Chavez. With a team of 5, they were able to excavate 2 pit houses, 30 pits, and 1 large midden, which is a trash pit. You can figure out everything about a person from the trash, because it means it's everything they used to use. Let's hear all about it from Christina Chavez herself.
Hi, Ms. Chavez.
Hi there. How are you doing?
How are you? I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
I would like to begin to thank you so much for participating in our power session community involvement here at Coral Charter.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited
All right, wonderful.
to help and support with this.
Okay, great. All right then. If you were to pick one North Star, actually, let me back up a bit. Why don't we begin with you sharing with our students what your career is, like the title and what you do for a living?
So I am an archaeologist, and I've been doing it for about 14 years now, if not longer. And I currently work for Sandy National Labs, and I am their archaeologist. So I get to go outside and walk around and hike and look at man-made items. So pottery, like arrowheads, things like that people have left along the landscape over thousands of years. And so that is my current job and what I've done. So it falls underneath environmental. So I support environmental work in that process as well.
So that sounds very fascinating. Do you work just specifically in New Mexico?
So for the majority of it, about 80% of it has all been done in New Mexico. I do some work, what they call the greater Southwest. So in Colorado, parts of Nevada and Arizona. I do work also in Africa. So I worked for 5 years in Egypt at a site in the middle, kind of central Nile region that's about 10,000 years old. And then I also worked one season in Sudan, which is like at the southern edge of the Nile River. So I worked in like kind of the northern portion of Sudan. So I did that for one season as well. So kind of a mixture of all over.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you've experienced a lot of different cultures and environments.
Yes, for sure. I'm beyond fortunate to have had those opportunities and, meeting wonderful people and studying and researching just such ancient cultures has just been fascinating.
Oh, yes. Yes, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So if you were to pick one of our North Star and our a leadership trait that is part of our Coral Charter School, which do you think would be the most important in the work you do?
For North Star specifically, I think one that's important that explains a lot of just about passion and enjoying what you do would be the sacrifice being as in the opposite of greedy. Archaeology falls under what we call social science. And so a lot of people think that there's a lot of money when it comes to choosing that career of choice, just like normal science. And there's not at all. And it was never a thought of mine in doing what I do to have anything to do about needing or wanting money to support my career. So it's really brought out just the passion that I have for what I do, and that in itself outweighs any compensation whatsoever. I just am completely in love and happy with the job that I do and that I've done for so many years that that's enough for me, for sure.
Right. So you're sacrificing monetary rewards for what's in your heart, what you really believe in and makes you happy.
Yes, exactly. And I've talked to a lot of schools and students that I presented my work for, and a lot of those questions are, do you like a lot of money, and these things, and not by any means in comparison to others. And it's not about that. I'm so fulfilled with what I've done so far, and what I look forward to being able to study and research in the future too. So that in itself just means so much to me.
That's wonderful. So that's your driving force to stay so, I guess, infatuated with your career. It brings you that satisfaction. Whereas a lot of people choose careers that's all about money. That's not going to always bring you happiness.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like when it comes to the North Star, is like just being able to find passion without the monies, and that satisfaction kind of just brings out hard worker, honesty, protector, being respectful, and integrity all together. So that one really stuck out to me. It just seems that really kind of rounded everything else out.
It's true. It's so important to when you're young, or really at any point in your life you want to change careers. Number one, is it what you love? Is it something you love?
Right.
And that's
Right.
show in your work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, I've always never wanted to do something that I don't enjoy. And this has always been something that I've enjoyed. And, there's not all parts of it that are like fun and games, just like any position, but
Right.
I really enjoy it. And it makes me very proud to call myself an archaeologist after all these years. So yeah, that's a big one for me.
That's incredible. Okay, well, describe some of your greatest successes as an archaeologist.
One of them was for sure getting further schooling. So receiving my master's degree, being more specific in archaeology, that was a huge success. And it all happened right when I had been asked to go to Egypt. And so I had, finishing my master's degree, defending my thesis, and then I left 3 days later to Egypt for the first time in my career. And so those were huge successes. It was a very proud moment of my personal life, and to be able to knock all these things out and then go into unfamiliar territory where I could go and work and show off my skills. It really meant a lot. So that was a huge success. And the world of archaeology here in the Southwest, it's a very small group of us, relatively speaking. So we all know each other. We all compete, for a lot of the same jobs against each other, and we're all colleagues and friends. And so after you put enough time into your career and you publish enough work and you write enough reports and you do all these things, you start to slowly climb up the ladder. And so that has been a huge success for me, to be able to find myself kind of on the same level as a few of my professors that were on my committee in my graduate school, and to be known, to have state officials who oversee historic preservation know my name and respect the work that I do specifically. That's huge to me, because I worked really hard, and it's a lot of networking and proving yourself. And so that's a huge success for me. And then I think on a different level are kind of just each project are some very cool finds that I'm very proud of. So whether I'm in Egypt or in Sudan or even here in the Southwest, just projects that I've been able to find some very cool items and just wonderful, wonderful artifacts that have just made me so proud, again, to be doing the job that I'm doing.
That's very exciting. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of awards come from this type of work, like
Yes.
personal awards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's all based on permits. So a lot of the work we do, you have to be able to keep up with it to be permitted to do your work in the state. And if you don't keep up with that, then you're no longer allowed. So you have to work hard, you know, go to conferences, present your research, do things like that to be able to keep those permits in place.
Yes, so there is quite a bit of work involved, but again, very rewarding.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So then share what you have learned from failures in your career.
From failures, I've learned to not put so much pressure on myself. And then to look at why I failed. And usually, or most of the time, it's something very minute or something I overlooked, almost where I got overconfident slightly. And so I just learned from it. You know, it could be from field work specifically that I've had issues. It could be, having the state not take my report because I have, you know, issues with it, things like that. But all of them were lessons learned for sure.
They really are. I mean, we do learn from our mistakes, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, every time I have those issues, it draws me back to remembering when I did fail and I'm like, nope. And I catch myself and say, this is what went wrong that last time.
Yes.
You know, so it hits you in your career in so many different ways, but I find it very humbling to be able to have those experiences of failure.
That's a good word to use, is to be humble. And, you know, it's hard because we want to do well at everything, but we're going to make mistakes. We're only human.
Right. Exactly. And so what's important is just learning from them and knowing that you're aware of it and you're trying to fix it.
There you go. And not be so hard on yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because one thing, if you're so hard on yourself, you're never going to improve. You're just going to be so worried about wanting to make it right that you're going to let things slip through the cracks because you're just so worried about it all the time. At least that's my experience with it.
Oh, mine too. And it's almost like you get stuck and it's almost paralyzing.
Right. Exactly.
Whereas if you change your attitude and say, well, you know, I made a mistake, but I'm going to learn from that mistake and do better.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a very important life skill.
Yeah, I think staying humbled is very important.
I agree 100%. All right. Well, that's wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to share with our students that you think would benefit them?
I just think that, you know, just follow whatever you're interested in. When I was young, I wanted to be a doctor. That was my mindset, is I'm going to be a doctor. It was very vague. I had no idea what kind of doctor. And then it turned into being a surgeon. Again, very vague. Had no idea what kind of surgeon. And I went into college my freshman year and sat in on an anthropology class. And that's what did it. And I had no idea. I mean, I've always been an outdoorsy person. I've always enjoyed hiking and exploring, but I had no idea that was my interest. And so I think just following your heart and yet being open to potentially what could bring interest to you is really important, and not kind of closing that door before you've even experienced it. And so that's one thing I want children and kids and the youth to understand, is it doesn't always come in a snap of a finger. You've got to kind of witness and see these things coming in at you, and then it's like, oh, I'm very interested in that all of a sudden. And I think that's important. I think it's really important. I really wish that they taught social science or like an archaeology or something like that at a younger age so that you're kind of introduced at a younger age to be able to, witness it, even at a anthropology level, something like that. I think it would be great.
I agree. They should offer more courses like that in high school in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Then students can see what they're interested in, what's like a good fit.
Right. Yeah. So that's my big thing. I want, all the children and kids to know, just, be open to any of these influences coming in and just pay attention and listen. And you might like it, you might not, but at least if you don't, you can check it off your list and say, I'm not really interested in that. And then you can keep looking,
And keep looking. And really the only way to know is just to try and experience it and then go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, Ms. Chavez, is there anything else you would like to say or?
No, I don't think so. Just, if there's ever a time we're back in the classroom, I would definitely, if they're interested, to kind of do some type of presentation. I'm always open for that. I find it really interesting, and I always see a lot of students who are interested to hear what I say, whether I do a presentation on local archaeology that I work on or stuff that I've done overseas. I'm always willing to share and educate with that.
Well, we would absolutely love to have you. That would be just phenomenal for the children.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Well,
and we're going to get there.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. So sometime in the future. Good thing we'll be associated with coral for a while, since my little one's only in preschool. So I would like to say we have plenty of time.
Oh, awesome. We do. Things are going to get better.
Yeah. So, well, I really appreciate your time and your patience and everything. It's been great.
Well, we appreciate you very much as well. Thank you for being a great asset to the Coral Charter community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me know if there's anything else I can help with.
Science. From planning and carrying out the digs to analyzing the objects and structures that are found. Technology and engineering. Archaeologists use special tools and methods to uncover what they found, so what they found doesn't get ruined.
Art. The objects and designs uncovered during the digs help us understand what they did in the past and what was important to them. Math. It is important to measure and calculate everything. From distances to weights, all kinds of estimates are needed to plan and conduct digs.
Thank you, Ms. Christina, for showing us where the 7 leader in me traits and North Star traits can take us.
If you have any questions for her, please comment below, seahorses. See you later, seahorses.